Are you tired of dairy leaving you bloated, but every plant-based milk you try tastes like watered-down cardboard? Stick around, because I'm about to reveal the absolute best milk alternative that actually tastes better than the real thing. 5. Silk cashew milk. When I first picked up this half-gallon carton, I was genuinely excited because cashew milk is often praised for its naturally creamy texture and rich consistency. Silk is a massive name in the dairy-free industry, so my expectations were reasonably high. I wanted to see if this unsweetened version could serve as a solid, everyday base for my morning smoothies and casual drinking. The packaging promises a creamy, delicious taste with 0 grams of sugar, which is always a promising start for those of us trying to watch our daily sugar intake. In my testing, the first thing I noticed when pouring a glass was the consistency. It does have a slightly thicker visual appeal than your standard watery almond milks, pouring with a nice, smooth flow. I decided to try it straight out of the fridge first to get a true sense of its unadulterated flavor profile. The taste is undeniably nutty, with a distinctly earthy undertone that screams cashew right from the very first sip. It feels relatively smooth on the palate, lacking that gritty texture that some cheaper nut milks tend to leave behind. However, when I started integrating this cashew milk into my daily routine, I quickly ran into some glaring issues. I tried using it in my morning coffee, hoping for that promised creaminess to shine through. Unfortunately, it completely fell flat. The milk did not blend well with the acidity of my light roast, leaving a rather unappealing, slightly separated visual in my mug. Even worse, the earthy flavor of the cashew violently clashed with the coffee beans, creating a bitter, almost sour aftertaste that I honestly struggled to finish. 4. Thai Kitchen coconut milk. This is a bit of a different contender compared to the carton milks, as it comes in a traditional can and is often marketed heavily towards cooking rather than direct drinking. However, many people use canned coconut milk as a rich alternative for their coffees and heavy cream needs, so I absolutely had to put it to the test. Thai Kitchen is renowned for its authentic ingredients, and this product boasts being gluten-free, vegan, and made from pressed, ripe coconuts. The first thing you notice when opening the can is the thick layer of coconut cream that naturally separates and sits at the top. I had to give it a very vigorous shake and a good stir to integrate the fat back into the water, which is completely normal for authentic coconut milk, but definitely adds an extra step of prep work. Once mixed, the texture is incredibly luxurious, far thicker and richer than anything you will find in a standard carton. It looks like heavy whipping cream, which immediately gave me high hopes for a decadent coffee experience. I spooned a generous amount of this coconut milk into my freshly brewed coffee, and while the resulting texture was phenomenally creamy, the oiliness was a major downside. Because of the naturally high fat content, a distinct oily sheen settled right at the top of my mug. The mouthfeel became overly slick, completely coating my tongue and dulling the actual taste of the coffee. Furthermore, the coconut flavor is aggressively strong. While I love coconut, it completely overwhelmed my beverage, turning my morning brew into what tasted like a tropical dessert rather than a robust cup of coffee. 3. Califia Farms almond milk. Califia Farms is famous for its iconic, beautifully shaped bottles, and this organic offering has been making serious waves in the plant-based community. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: purified water, organic almonds, and sea salt, this product immediately appeals to those looking for a clean, filler-free label. I was incredibly eager to test this out, especially since many almond milks on the market are bogged down with gums, emulsifiers, and artificial flavorings that ruin the natural taste. Upon my first pour, I noticed that the liquid was slightly thinner than the cashew and coconut options, which is typical for a pure almond milk without added thickeners. However, what it lacks in heavy viscosity, it more than makes up for in crisp, clean flavor. I tasted it chilled, right out of the fridge, and was blown away by how refreshing it was. It has a very delicate, toasted almond flavor that does not taste artificial or overly processed. The pinch of sea salt perfectly balances the natural nuttiness, making it a genuinely enjoyable beverage to drink on its own. I immediately put it through the cereal test, pouring a generous amount over a bowl of granola. This is where the Califia Farms almond milk really begins to shine. It provided exactly what I needed, a crisp, refreshing moisture that allowed the flavors of the cereal to stand out without competing for attention. It soaked into the oats beautifully without turning them into a mushy paste. It acts exactly how you want a traditional skim milk to behave, serving as a perfect supporting character to your morning breakfast. 2. Califia Farms Oat Barista Blend Oat Milk. Claiming the runner-up spot at number 2 is another entry from Califia Farms, but this time it is their immensely popular Oat Barista Blend. Over the past couple of years, oat milk has absolutely dominated the coffee shop scene, and this specific barista blend is largely responsible for that revolution. I bought a carton specifically to see if it could replicate that premium coffee shop quality latte right in my very own kitchen. This blend is formulated specifically to stretch, froth, and foam, just like real dairy milk, which is a massive promise that I fully intended to put to the test. The moment I poured it, the difference in texture was immediately apparent. It is lusciously thick, opaque, and has a beautiful creamy color that just looks inviting. I tasted it on its own first, and the flavor profile is outstanding. It is naturally sweet, carrying a subtle, toasted oat flavor that is incredibly comforting. It lacks any of the watery, thin characteristics of lesser milk alternatives, delivering a rich, full-bodied mouthfeel that coats the palate perfectly. It honestly tastes like the leftover milk at the bottom of a bowl of premium oatmeal. The true magic of this product, however, revealed itself when I fired up my espresso machine. I poured a few ounces into my steaming pitcher and activated the steam wand. The results were absolutely staggering. The Califia Barista Blend frothed up with an effortless, velvety microfoam that held its structure perfectly. Pouring it over my freshly pulled espresso shot was a dream. It integrated flawlessly without a hint of separation or curdling. It allowed me to pour latte art just as easily as I would with whole cow's milk, which is a rare feat for plant-based alternatives. 1. Silk Organic Milk Substitute, Soy. While almond and oat milks have stolen the trendy spotlight in recent years, soy milk is the original heavy hitter of the dairy-free world, and after rigorous testing, it proves exactly why it deserves the throne. I chose the organic, unsweetened version by Silk because I wanted a pure, unadulterated baseline to test across every possible kitchen application. This half-gallon powerhouse boasts a remarkably short ingredient list, focusing heavily on whole, organic soybeans and purified water. Pouring a glass of this soy milk reveals a beautifully creamy, milky white liquid that visually perfectly mimics the look of traditional dairy. Taking a sip, I was immediately struck by its incredibly smooth and neutral flavor profile. Unlike the aggressive nuttiness of cashew or the tropical dominance of coconut, this soy milk offers a clean, mild taste that is just waiting to be customized. It doesn't leave any lingering aftertaste or gritty textures in your mouth, providing a highly satisfying, clean drinking experience right out of the chilled carton. What truly sets this Silk organic soy milk apart, and the primary reason it secured the #1 spot, is its unmatched nutritional profile and structural integrity. Packed with a whopping amount of complete plant-based protein per serving, it practically mirrors the protein content of real cow's milk. I tested it in my post-workout protein shakes, and it added a fantastic thick body to the drink while significantly boosting the overall protein content. It is the only milk alternative on this list that actually acts as a nutritional replacement for dairy, rather than just a liquid substitute. Its performance in the kitchen is simply flawless.